Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield. I was going to make some kind of April Fool's joke, but I can't even do it, Josh.
Thanks.
It's not who I am.
April Fool's is so dumb.
Okay. Has Innova announced whatever crazy thing they're doing this year yet?
Oh, I don't know.
Because, they make joke discs, but they're real, right?
But
That's their
they're
thing.
real.
It's so smart.
The Polecat, the Halo Polecat still will go down as the best.
That's an all-time great.
Yeah. Is that or the Macbeth disc golf destroyers? You remember those?
No, I don't remember that.
So back, oh man, I don't know how long ago it was. They made a line of discs and announced that Paul had bought Innova, and the bottom where it says Innova Disc Golf, instead it said Macbeth Disc Golf. Those go for a pretty penny these days now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm checking and I don't see. They have a post from today, but it's well, wait a minute. Maybe this is it. The Innova Dragon is back, now in ultra durable champion plastic, and yes, it still floats in water. No fooling with this one.
So that's it. That's it right there.
I guess so. There you go. I'm sure there will be some other interesting disc golf related April Fool's.
No Polecat.
The crazy thing is that we have a lot of crazy news today that is not, in fact, an April Fool's.
I literally, Charlie sent me this email, and I got on this morning. I said, Charlie, are you lying to me? Is this April Fool's? I'm not sure I believe you.
Here we go. The Disc Golf Pro Tour announces today that regulated sports betting and DFS, aka daily fantasy sports, is now available for Disc Golf Pro Tour events. So what does this mean? Well, it's still a little bit unclear at this moment because this news came out literally moments ago. But it is expected that there will be lines up on DraftKings, Bet365, and potentially some other sports books in the United States, Canada, and Mexico on DGPT events for this weekend Music City Open. Okay? So this has been a slow and steady climb towards this moment. Now, remember, DGPT signed up with some sort of betting integrity organization a couple years ago. Then they got involved with a company that basically makes lines and then delivers them to sports books who then take those lines in, and then they, usually will just post those initial lines as is. And then, of course, lines adjust based on betting patterns. And so we're here. It has happened. And so I am waiting. If you have DraftKings or other sports betting operators in your state, and I will give you the states where it is currently allowed to bet on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, you can find this yourself if you go to nxtbets.com/playdgpt. Okay. Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Oregon, Nevada, but only in casinos, all of Canada, and all of Mexico. So that is what they're saying. If you want to play DFS, I'm not going to read a list. It's a long list. But unfortunately, Josh, no Idaho, no New York.
I mean, I think all sports betting is prohibited in Idaho still, though.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to gamble.
It's not me. I know people who go down to Utah all the time, though, to place bets. So
Sure. I mean, back in the day, I live right near the George Washington Bridge. I literally have crossed the bridge to put bets down in New Jersey before New York legalized gambling. I've done it. Mostly for massive promo reasons, but
that is by definition a degenerate bet.
It's a degenerate bet. A little bike ride over the water of the Hudson. It's nice.
Well,
then I'm sitting by the side of the road,
lines.
putting my bets in. I'm not even exaggerating. Josh, so what's your this was going to happen. This was inevitable.
Yes.
Yep. What does it mean that it's happening now here in 2025?
It's a big deal, Charlie. And, people love sports betting. And we know that. We've talked about this. We set odds for majors. People love it. It's a great time. But it creates an engagement and a reason and an opportunity for people who are not just, disc golf purists, quote unquote, right? Who don't just watch it for the love of the game, to want to and to become involved and engaged in it. Moreover, I think that it also, if you are somebody who is interested in sports betting, Jomez ain't going to cut it anymore, because you're not waiting until next day to find out whether or not your lines are hitting. And you'll probably be notified ahead of time at the end of the tournament. And so can't spoil live sports, right, folks? And if you're betting on it, I just think that you're gonna jump on and you're gonna get DGN. I think there's actually a promo through this site that if you sign up, you get a month free of DGN.
Yeah, that's right. Code DGPT NXT.
Yeah,
free month of DGN.
So go get a free month of DGN. It just creates an avenue by which people are going to engage in this sport, and they're going to engage. It's not passive engagement, right? It's not me watching while I do dishes. It's people who are doing research, reading it, watching press conferences now, checking socials to see who was injured, who's playing. It is traffic generated from people who want to make money on this sport now.
Early review at about 10:15 a.m. Eastern time. Somebody checked for me in Illinois. Nothing yet on DraftKings.
Okay.
So we'll see. Are there actually going to be bettable lines before this weekend? I
guess we'll see.
Presumably, since they're rolling this out as a big PR push. We do have the lines that are being given to the books as offer these. So we will look at those in just a moment. Before we get to that, obviously one of the big concerns that you have as a small sport with small payouts for winners, and look, $10,000, that's a lot more than winning an A tier, but it's still not life-changing amount of money, is of course, how do you prevent stroke shaving or other issues with competitive integrity when it would be very easy for someone to go to a player and say, hey, I'll pay you $25,000 to make sure you lose to so-and-so, or that you don't win this tournament. And the short answer is right now, the lines are so low, it's $100 limits, sounds like, that it just doesn't matter. There's no way anybody's making enough money with $100 limits for there to be any kind of concerns about that.
Right.
Longer term, this is a thing. Now, the Pro Tour does have a very comprehensive gambling policy, and you can find it on their website.
It's a good one.
I'm not going to try to read through the whole thing here, but I will note that they say that the policy that basically disallows you from gambling anything more than a fantasy league with a prize under $250. So no sports betting, no other activity on DGPT or majors or other professional disc golf applies to all full and part-time Pro Tour employees, owners, officers, and directors, DGPT competitors, trainers, and coaches. All makes sense, right? Players, employees. DGPT event officials, security personnel, and event day personnel. Volunteers who act as spotters, scorers, or stat keepers, or who mark areas in a competitively relevant way, such as out-of-bounds hazard or other markings. And other event staff as designated by the DGPT on an event-by-event basis.
It makes sense.
It does.
Boy, is that going to be hard to enforce, though.
Yeah, you've got your Portland, what's it, Northwest, what's it called now? Portland Open is now the
Northwest
Disc Golf Bonanza or something.
I don't know.
I've already forgotten. Those volunteers, they're maybe going to have to sign a thing that says I'm not gambling on this tournament.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how you really enforce that, but they do have this partner who's monitoring betting patterns and doing other things to make sure that like there is integrity. Because this is a real challenge that they could face if lines get big enough, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they never will. Northwest Disc Golf Championship. For the record. But that aside, like every sport is dealing with this.
Yep.
You do have players who decide that they want to try to gamble on the game. They tend to get caught. They tend to get banned. You have Shohei Ohtani's agent betting millions of dollars, but not for Shohei, supposedly. I mean, it gets a little murky, right?
It does.
Josh, would you say this gambling policy applies to me as a commentator on DGN sometimes?
Oh, interesting. I don't know. Are you an employer or you're a contractor?
I am a contractor. I'm definitely not an employee.
Okay. Does it say?
I am not an official of any kind. I'm not volunteering. I would think they would want to potentially make it. I don't know that it would really matter, but Al Michaels definitely bets on sports.
Well, it depends, Charlie. Are you going to call or text players about caddies in order to try and fix your bets?
You're allowed, if you're a commentator, you're allowed to make bets on the Pro Tour, but you cannot text the caddies during the round. A fair price to pay. Of course,
otherwise, I don't know how you did.
I can't bet anyway. So
yeah, listen. If before that Champions Cup event, I would say, why shouldn't commentators get to bet? There's nothing you can do to influence the event. Boy, was I wrong.
All right. Well, this brings us to a brand new segment on the Upshot, and get ready for it. Every tournament time, it's Caddie Bookie. Shout out to Josh, who coined this one.
I'm so excited.
In Caddie Bookie, we're going to talk about the lines, the betting angles that we're seeing, some help to make your bets the best they can be. Maybe we'll do some DFS stuff in the future too, but I need to see like what that's all going to be about, how the DFS stuff's going to work, what the scoring is. Honestly, it's a lot more complicated. So let's take a look at the lines.
We're just waiting. Yeah,
there's totally separate lines in Europe. European betting has already like been going for months, maybe years at this point. But this is the American odds that were set by the partner for the Pro Tour. That these are the odds that are going out to books to have them listed. Mm-hmm. So take a look. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll read them off for everyone else. Your top 10 odds are, starting at the top, an FPO. Kristen Latt, plus 134. Remember, a plus number means bet $100 to win that amount. So if you bet on Kristen, $100, you win $134 if she wins the tournament. Owen Scoggins, plus 323. Holland Hanley, plus 369. Missy Gannon, plus 803. Evelina, plus 1422. Ella Hansen, plus 2,074. Natalie Ryan, plus 2,749. Haley King, plus 2,790. Kat Merch, plus 2,930. And Henna Blomroos, plus 3,397. Oddly specific numbers here.
They are.
Let's start there. Josh, thoughts on what you see in these lines?
Well, listen, Kristen is the three-peat winner, is rightly the favorite, or the two-time winner going for three-peat is rightly the favorite. Kristen has won in 2024 and 2023, hoping to defend her title again. Two players that we have seen win this event in the past as well, in the past 4 years. Missy Gannon won it in 2022 when it was a silver. And in 2021, Haley won it when it was the National Tour finale. Listen, I don't think either of those players, regardless of their odds, are pickable right now. Missy's injury is just too big of a question mark for me. And she, at fourth best odds, I just think there's no shot that you could pick Missy. Haley making her season debut. I mean, listen, she's got long odds, and so there's a lot of value available. But I, again, just think when you look at some of the other players around her, I would not touch Haley with a 10-foot pole here. The interesting matchup is there at the top against Kristen and Holland, Kristen obviously going for that three-peat. She won with a 10-12 rated round in 2024, or event rating in 2024. Holland lost with over 1,000 rated event rating at 1,003, only losing by about 4 strokes, and then they were pretty far ahead of the rest of the field after that. So, listen, man, it's hard to pick against Kristen, but I think of any time Holland has looked like the best she has at the start of the season. And so if you're looking for likely, if you want a real favorite to win, I think you take Holland over Kristen for betting reasons. Just the odds are too narrow for Kristen to make it valuable.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Kristen looked unbelievable this past weekend in Jonesboro, where she set the all-time record for an FPO event rating. Absolutely lapping the field.
Yeah.
But let's acknowledge that Holland has looked about her equal this season.
Yes.
So for her to get, 3x better odds, basically, I think it's very reasonable. I have a hard time finding value elsewhere just because we haven't seen, last year, the Kristen and Holland just absolutely pulled away from everyone else.
Yeah.
Kristen was at 13 down. Holland was at 9 down. Third place was Henna at even. So
and don't bet on Henna to win.
I don't think so. It's just not. How does it ever make sense to bet on Henna right now?
Right.
I do like Evelina.
Uh-huh.
I like the number on Evelina. It's 14-1 is pretty good considering that last year she shot a 65 and a 63, which was tied with Kristen's rounds 1 and 3 combined. The problem is that Evelina shot a 78 in round 2 when Kristen shot a 60. So basically Evelina just had a nightmare round 2. But is this the kind of course Evelina can win on? Oh yeah, you
1,000%.
Well, so if you're looking for a value pick, that's probably where I'd go. I don't hate Ella either, but she hasn't been great here. I mean, she was 17 shots back of Kristen last year.
That is true. I went and looked into some stats though, because I think Ella is also actually a pretty decent value pick. She had 3 times the bogey rate of Kristen. She was keeping up in the birdie category, but was just bogeying way too much. If you look, her scramble percentage was horrific. She only scrambled 5% of the time. I think it's partially a reflection of, okay putting that weekend. But in most cases, I think that Ella is and this year, especially as we've seen at, Supreme Flight Open, for example, is that Ella is putting herself in better positions more often than she was in past years. And so the scramble isn't as big of a deal. I think there's a shot. If you, either of those, you get an extra, plus 600 on Ella over Evelina, but I think Evelina is probably the more likely pick in terms of winner. But either of those kind of long throwers who've looked decent to start the season, I think is where you find value outside of a Holland pick.
Yeah. I agree. I agree completely. Look, Ella is 3rd in Circle 2 in regulation behind Kristen Holland right now.
Right, there it is.
And this is a course that does set up really well for her game.
Yeah.
So I think there's decent, what's her chances of winning this tournament? You think they're under 5%? I think that's maybe a little bit too low, considering that she's literally already won a tournament this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Going against up against Holland and Kristen. Excuse me, just Holland. No Kristen.
And Evelina.
All right, let's take a look at the MPO odds. Here we go. Leading the way, no surprise here, Gannon Burr with a paltry plus 166. Calvin Heimberg plus 705, Ricky Wysocki plus 708, Ezra Robinson plus 1048, AB plus 1070, Isaac Robinson plus 1156, back-to-back champion Simon Lizotte plus 1264, Paul Macbeth plus 1279, Nicholas Antela plus 1505, and Chris Dickerson with a attractive plus 2287. Josh, obviously Simon just jumps off the page here. At 12-1 after he won this tournament by 5 strokes last year and has just looked phenomenal at this tournament both of these years, and I think has started the season better than he did either of the past 2 years.
Absolutely did. The question I need to know is, does Simon have a third kid on the way? Does he need the third guitar? Because that's really going to determine it for me. No,
Simon has never lost with a guitar as the trophy.
Those feel like those. That feels like those. Like NBA is the most notorious of this. NFL does it a little bit too, but the NBA is like, oh, this is the first player ever with 27.5 points, 13.1 rebounds, and 8.9 blocks per game with one steal, but no more than one steal. And it's like,
betting trend alert. Simon's never lost with a guitar trophy.
Right. Here's a couple things that are interesting about Simon. He went 97% circle one putting last year. That is something that is kind of a trend with Simon, is that if his circle one putting is on, he is lights out and can be the best player in the field. If it's off, then Simon won't even be in contention for this week. And so that's the scary part, is like you're having to watch, what do you think that's going to happen? The interesting thing, Simon beats Paul last year by 5. That's where, if you had to pick, I think it's a pretty tough decision if you had to pick between Simon or Paul. Paul has started off the season looking phenomenal. He's made lead card, and chase card in the past 3 events. Second place last year, and has more value than Simon does in the pick. And so, I hear the three-peat, but I also think that there is some value here in Paul, and that's it's tough. I mean, I don't know which one. Honestly, you throw 50 on each of them, and I think you're in pretty decent shape. But
what's interesting to me is that these numbers seem accurate in in a generic sense, right?
Yes.
Like if you were going to have a generic event, and you're just like, what should the odds be at this unknown course? Like, these aren't way off.
No, they aren't.
But when you account for course effects, which, you can believe or not whether that's a real thing, but I would say it's fairly clear that it is.
I think so too.
And I think if you ran statistics over time, you would see huge horses for courses impact in a regression model. Then how do you get away from putting money down on guys like AB, Simon, Paul here, and staying way away from Gannon? Like Gannon still probably deserves to be the favorite, just because he's statistically leading the tour right now in terms of the key stats categories. But I also don't even hate like Calvin Heimberg at plus 705. But Ricky feels the price is a little too low considering his level of play so far this year, and with the guys who have played so well here the past 2 years, like Simon and AB, I really don't know how these numbers make a lot of sense. I mean, you could put money down on 3 or 4 of those guys, still end up ahead if any of them wins. Yeah. I just don't see how you bet Gannon here.
Ice cold odds.
It seems a little too fat to call him almost a 50% to win.
Yeah, no way. 2022, Chris Dickerson won was a silver event. And the 2021 Mason Ford won.
Dickerson at 2287 is very attractive value bet. I mean, he has been solid here every year.
You put 50
He was 2 shots off the lead 2 years ago. And he was 7 shots off the lead. But remember, Simon went nuclear in that final round.
Right.
I mean, Dickerson was only 2 shots off Macbeth's 25 down. I think, it's fair to call him a long shot, but if you're looking for a sprinkle, I don't hate it.
Well, I don't know. Isaac, I don't love Isaac at his position, just given the guys around him. But you take AB down and get rid of Isaac. So AB, Simon, Paul, Nicholas, Chris, you sprinkle any combination of those guys, I think you've got good value.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's not always going to run this long, but obviously big news to have betting coming to the U.S. and Canada. Let us know your thoughts. Do you like this? Do you not like this? How is this going to impact the tour long run? Is this potentially a growth mechanism for the tour? There's a reason that pro sports is embracing gambling. And it's because it makes people watch and care and tune in on a Tuesday night. Obviously that's not for disc golf, but watching round one, like signing up for a DGN subscription.
Yeah.
Just even signing up on Jomez to watch round coverage. With limits at $100, I don't necessarily know that like you're going to bring in huge amounts of people looking to make some money, but it's certainly fun.
Yes.
Of course, I say as someone who likes to bet, please gamble responsibly if you choose to do so. Speaking of put a little sprinkle on something, Josh.
What a transition.
Sprinkle Valley, hole 18. Yep, we're talking about it again. Why? Because they're killing the hole. Take a look at this video from Mint Discs, who put the course in the ground over on Instagram. This is from, I think, yesterday, a day or two ago.
Man, this is going to suck. How's it going, everybody? This is Zach with Mint Discs. I've had about a week now to process the Open at Austin. I am here today to address the elephant in the room, the hardest hole in disc golf history. The intent with this green, this hole, was really to have that psychologically challenging hole at the end of what we think is a very hard course. What we've seen is a lot of people just want it to be fun. The last thing we ever want is for your experience here at Sprinkle Valley to be defined by this green. So that is why we are here today to announce that Sprinkle Valley hole 18 is no more. Whether we turn this hole into a par 3, whether we move it somewhere else entirely else on the property, I don't know yet. It's a 17-hole course until we have a solution. We will figure that out and we'll let you know. Yeah, so it's gone.
So there you go, Josh. Is it just all that we want to have disc golf be fun and not hard? This is a weird one for me.
Yeah. So here's the first thing. And maybe I shouldn't read into this so much, but do you remember a couple years ago?
Josh, just want to note that you're the number one hole 18 hater.
I am the number one hole 18 hater, and I'm fine with that. Do you remember a couple years ago when Melania Trump visited the border wearing a jacket that said "I don't care" on it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do remember that.
That's what it feels like when you have a guy who's like, yeah, we're the hardest hole on course. We never meant for that. And then so we're pulling this out of the ground, and then turns around and his jacket, because people want it to be fun, not hard. And then turns around and it says disc golf is hard on the back of his shirt. That's kind of like, feels a little weird to have that on your shirt when you're like, oh, people just prefer that it's easy and fun. I don't know. This is a weird video because we made suggestions for like ways that could be different without just like scrapping the hole. And it's like, your idea didn't work. I think it was poorly tested and never should have made it to tour. So fix it. But like, just like I've had a week to process it. So now I'm pulling it out of the ground.
Very odd
for even casual play.
Listen, I want to reiterate because clearly no decision has been made yet. They don't know what they're going to do with 18.
Right.
You don't have to kill this hole. You need to change this hole to make it play better.
Yeah.
Like when the main point that people were making was, why are pros playing this so dumb? All you have to do is blast it over the hole into the OB, and then you'll get to play from the green. It's like, okay, well, obviously that's bad hole design. Like if that's like the optimized plan. So look, there's a million things that we talked about on this show. You could make it hazard. You could add a little space for inbounds area at the top of the stairs. You could make it an immediate drop zone shot if you go out of bounds approaching the island. Like
eliminate a lot of there's OB on the tee shot.
I saw somebody say on the internet, I think it's exactly right. The problem with the hole wasn't the design, it was the rules.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with an island green on 18, and it's nothing wrong with a hard hole on 18. I mean, you could bring it back to the previous iteration, and when that hole, the gap between the stairs and the green was inbounds, the hole still played as the second hardest hole on tour.
Right.
So for FPO, so they're like, what's the problem? Like, you could keep it like that and it just becomes less punishing, but it's still, now you have a risk reward decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like maybe that changes the hole too much because it makes your upshots you want to throw up on top of the stairs, and it feels like it doesn't quite have the teeth that you want. I'm open.
Second
to
hardest hole on tour,
but I don't think you need to kill the hole.
No. The other thing. Here's the other thing that I've been so annoyed about is like, I've gotten messages, but also like I've seen on Reddit, like amateur MPO, like MA1 players who are like, look, I parred it. And it's like, yes, you can par it. But even MA1 game is not FPO. The skill set is different.
Right.
The abilities are different.
Right.
And hey, guess what? Let me put 10 grand on the line for you to make that island in a headwind.
Right.
You sticking it? I don't know. Not so sure, right? Like, it's completely incorrect to say that because you've hit it before, that the FPO should have hit it too. And you're right. Like, there were players on there who were not as skilled of FPO players, who are lower down, who don't have the arm, who were hitting the hole. But that says it's not an issue with distance. It's not an issue with like the skill isn't available to all players. It's that it was designed in such a way that it created a shot that was very, very, very difficult to replicate under ideal conditions, let alone the conditions that they were playing in, between the pressure of a tournament and the wind and all of those factors combined. And yeah, when you're on camera and you start missing the island a couple times, yes, you might melt down. But guess what? That's something that needs to be taken into account. And that's a factor that at the end of the day, when you have players who are saying that they're humiliated by this hole, like I don't care if an MA1 player can hit it, right? It needs to be changed.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Sprinkle Valley Hole 18. We'll see if this course is on tour next year.
Yeah.
We'll see. Lots to get to there. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we are gonna get you ready for the Music City Open. We are doing one main pod this week because the Thursday when our second show typically comes out, we have the match play event for the first time. So we're gonna get you ready for the match play. We're gonna get you ready for Music City Open, and subscribers can look forward to a match play reacts on Thursday live in the Discord, as well as our typical rapid reacts on Sunday night. Hopefully Sunday night. We'll get to that for the Music City Open. So great time. Never been a better time to get yourself a subscription. discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. For now, it's less than $4 a month, but prices are going up in about 2 weeks. So lock in your lower price today. Sign up. You can buy an annual subscription and save even more, and get all of our rapid reacts, bonus pod segments, and more. So a lot more to do on today's show. Stay with us. It's the Upshot. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Remember, pre-orders are available now for Octothorpes and Octahulls with the brand new feature set available now in 2025. The bag was rebuilt from the ground up. It's more stable, it's more comfortable, it's easier to fix straps that wear out, and the bags are just fantastic. So get your pre-order in. They will start shipping in May, so you have a month to get your pre-orders in, and you don't want to wait because once the pre-orders end, it might be hard to get your hands on stock bags for a while. So go to pounddiscgolf.com and put your order in today. Welcome back to the Upshot. All right, it's time to talk a little Music City Open, but first, we got to get you ready for the new match play event. So maybe you've heard about this, maybe not. We're going to break down the nuts and bolts, and then we have our first set of group stage matchups on Thursday, It is covered live on DGN. I have not heard whether it's going to be on Jomez, but probably. I would assume they would want to do that. I don't know. I guess it's kind of an awkward thing to put on Jomez because you can't cover all the cards.
Yeah.
So maybe not. Anyway, match play championship. So in years past, remember back in 2022, I think that's the last time we had a match play tournament. It was in Colorado, and they just basically had 16 players play like a match play bracket over the course of a few days. And yeah, it was fun. Like Owen won. That was exciting. Joel Freeman beat Kevin Jones in the final in MPO.
Yep.
And then match play went away basically for, we've had like little things here and there, All-Star weekend, but now it's being brought back, and the championship is in November at Hornets Nest. There will be, I guess, 16 total players, 8 from each division that make it to the championship. The way you get to the championship is you qualify through your 4-player group. There's like a group stage. It's round robin play, Josh, and the top 2 players from each group of 4 will advance to the championship. They're going to play these group events over the course of the season. So everyone will play on Thursday at Music City. Then there will be partial play at Crokle and Idlewild. So basically based on scheduling of the players.
Probably half and half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then everyone will play again at the Green Mountain Championship for the final round of group play, with the winners then moving on. So you score points, of course, by winning. You get 3 points. If you tie, it's worth 1 point to each player, and a loss is worth 0 points. The tiebreakers are first head-to-head. So if you have 2 players tied, just whoever won their match. If it was a tie in their match, or there's a 3-way tie, which is possible, then you go to total win margin in your group. By how much did you win each of your matches? And then there's undisclosed additional tiebreakers if it comes to that. So obviously, if we get closer to tie situation, that will be figured out.
Yeah.
Championship event is 3 rounds single elim bracket at Hornets Nest. Okay.
Yep. Love it.
All makes sense.
I think this format's great. I think this is a phenomenal format. Yeah.
So here are your groups. We'll start with the groups, and maybe we can predict who we think gets out of each group, and then we will predict this week's matchups.
Okay.
You like it?
Yep. Love it.
So group number 1, Group A in MPO, Gannon Burr, Anthony Barela, Chris Dickerson, Luke Humphreys.
Be crazy not to say Gannon and AB.
I like low key want to pick Chris, but I don't think I can. I think AB is like a very strong match play contender.
Oh, without a doubt.
And Gannon is Gannon.
Gannon is plus 166 to win this weekend.
Then we've got Ricky, Paul, Matty O, and Ezra Aderhold. In this one, I'll go first here. I'll take Ricky. And honestly, I'm going to take Paul.
Yeah, I think going back to the idea, like Ezra could be a very good match player. Oh, yeah. Just because he's going to reach holes that maybe other guys won't. My one worry is that Paul just doesn't care about this thing.
If he agreed to play, he'll care, right?
All right. Then I'm also.
If he didn't care, he just would say no.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, give me Ricky and Paul too.
All right, next group: Nicholas, Ezra Robinson, Simon Lazat, Joey Buckets.
Oh my gosh, this is a hard group. All right, give me the Peach Pirate. I want Ezra Robinson at the top.
Of course.
For sure. Of course. Knew that was coming. Oh man, that next one is hard though. Give me Nicholas.
Wow. No Simon.
Stunning. Sorry, Simon.
I'm going Europeans. I'm going to take Simon and Nicholas.
All right.
But I think Ezra's got a great. I think all those guys could advance from this group.
Yeah.
Joey Buckets could surprise us.
He could. I agree. I think
it's not stroke play. It's a different beast.
It is a different beast.
All right. Next group: Calvin, Isaac Robinson, Adam Hammis, Evan Smith.
You're up first.
Oh, Calvin, Evan Smith. Wow.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
And good for you. I want Calvin and Adam Hammis.
I think that's the chalk pick, and I like
it. Probably is.
The Isaac 2X disrespect continues on the upshot.
Yep, it does.
All right. Into FPO we go. Group A: Ella Hansen, Holland Hanley, Deanne Carey, Allie Smith.
Look, I'm very sorry to Deanne Carey and Allie Smith. You drew the short straw because you've got probably some of the best match players in all of disc golf, regardless of division, lining up against you.
It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Ellen Holland. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Next group: Owen Scoggins, Kat Murch, Kat Allen, Katrina, and Ellie Mittling. I am gonna go Kat Murch, who I think is just a great fit for this format.
Yep.
And I feel like people are going to want to take Ellie, but I just have to take Owen. I'm sorry.
I also want Owen. And I want Katrina Allen.
Okay.
I think that match play is going to set up a little bit better for her here. Because like blow up putting isn't going to be as big of a deal. You can blow up once and be okay. So I think Katrina has the skill set to get her in position to get some holes on people. So I want Katrina.
All right. I like it. Next group is Kristen, Silva, Paige Pierce, and Luca Lorenzen.
Is it me? Yeah, it's me up first. Well, Kristen,
that's a tough choice here.
This is so hard.
I'm taking Kristen too, of course.
Of course. Come on, change it up. Oh man, I just not seen anything from Paige. But Paige and AB, how much? Give me Paige. I'm doing it.
You're doing
Locking
it?
in. I'm doing it.
Paige. 14th in Circle 1 in regulation, 15th in parked right now, but number 1 in Circle 2 putting. That's a
scary
big deal.
For match play.
God. It's like literally going to come down to like the individual matchups, I feel like.
Yes.
To me, it's like very likely to be Silva or Paige.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to take Silva. But it depends on when they play.
I think that's the chalk pick, though. I agree.
I mean, yeah.
Right pick.
Last group, Missy Gannon, Rebecca Cox, Jessica Weiss, Madison Walker. First of all, give me Rebecca Cox. I'm just loving her game. The upside is so clear right now.
Mm-hmm.
God, Jessica Weiss is tempting, but I can't do big money Missy like that. I'm going to take Missy.
I'm so glad that I get to be different. I want Rebecca and Jessica Weiss.
I like it.
Give me Jessica Weiss. That's a player who I want on my match play team.
She seems like she's going to be great in this format.
I hope so.
True.
And I think with Missy's injury right now, she's going to start off on a bad foot. I think Rebecca's just going to put the whoop down on Missy this week. So.
All right. With that, we come to the first matchups, and we get some great stuff this week to kick it off.
Headline match.
Headlines. So we'll start with one of the best, and we're going to do it as our pound for pound segment. Pound for pound, carry excellence. Here we go. Pound for Pound is presented by Pound Disc Golf, and we're going to take a look at the numbers for the first matchup in Pool A, and that is Gannon Burr versus Anthony Barela. This is the heavyweight matchup of, two of the top 5 players of the last 2 years for sure. You could argue higher than that. I mean, how high do you want to put AB on the list? There's a consistency conversation, but I mean, AB's winning last year is not many players matched it. So Josh, I want you to give me well, you did it for me last week. I'm going to do it for you this week.
Okay.
Who's ahead in the category? Okay.
All right.
So we're gonna just run it down. They are very close in most of these categories.
Okay.
So we will start with birdie rate. Gannon or AB?
Oh man, this is hard. I like doing this. I like giving these to you and you're guessing. All right. Give me AB.
It is not AB. It is Gannon. 50%. AB 49.4%. This gives you a sense of where we're at.
Yeah.
All right. Fairway hits.
Give me Gannon.
Yes, Gannon easy.
Okay.
81%, 81.5, 8th on tour. AB is at 74.6 for 47th.
Oof.
So it's been a little bit of an issue with coming clean off the tee. Parked percentage.
AB.
By a lot. Almost double. AB 17%. He's second on tour. Gannon
ahead
at
of AB?
8.9% in 57th. Do you want to guess? It's impossible.
Oh, so it's like someone who played one event or something.
Possibly, but it says 40% or more of available holes have to be played in order to be included.
Oh, okay. So maybe 2 events.
It's 2 events, Waco and Austin.
All right.
Did not finish in the top 25 at either event.
Tell me this. Is it an American or European?
European.
Is it? Oh, I want to go with Albert Tom.
That's a good guess, but no. Erasmus Saukoripi.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
19.4% parked.
Man,
Basically,
what's in the water over there?
He's playing
My
great,
goodness.
but he just bogeys way too much. His scrambling percentage is horrendous. His putting is not very good either. So, but that's cool. When he gets it, he's tapping in birdies.
Good for him.
Okay. Circle 1.
Gannon.
Easy one, right?
Yeah.
AB's fourth at 52%. Gannon's first at 56%. Circle 2.
Gannon.
Yes. 75 to 68. First and 12th. Scramble.
AB.
Good guess. Yes, that's right. 66% for fourth. Gannon has actually struggled here a little bit. He's 55%
It's from his
for
putting.
15th. Circle 1 putting.
I'm going to go AB.
That's correct. By 0.2%.
Whoa.
13th and 16th. 86.3, 86.1. Circle 2 putting.
Also AB.
By a country mile.
Gannon's circle 2 putting has just not been it.
It hasn't been it. He's at 18% for 75th on tour. AB is 30.6% for 5th. So AB's been very good, and we've seen that.
Yeah.
Gannon has, it's arguably the reason he hasn't been winning yet.
Yes.
Because his circle 2 putting has been very weak.
Yeah.
So that does it for your pound for pound. Josh, who are you taking?
Give me Gannon for his bounce back opportunity. I think he gets a win here. Match play to kick it off.
Man, I'm gonna say AB.
Okay, all right.
He's what an elite player in this format.
That's fair. That's fair. But tell me, like, I don't know. I guess besides park percentage might be the big difference.
AB's been the better player at this course too.
He has. We'll see.
Okay, Chris Dickerson versus Luke Humphreys. I'm taking Dickerson.
Gotta be Dickerson. Sorry, the Luke magic is gone.
Arguably the matchup that we've all been waiting for our entire lives. It is the Tiger versus Phil of our era. Ricky versus Paul. I need a camera. I need a live feed of Ricky Paul in the corner at all times during
Also-
the DGN coverage.
Also mic'd up. I don't want commentary. I just
That's
want to
right.
hear Ricky. I don't care who the camera's on. I still want to hear Ricky and
That's
Paul.
right. You know what? Just I just want to watch. I'm commentating this weekend. I just want to watch.
Give me Paul. He's better at this course, and he's been way better this season.
You're right. I got to take Ricky for the clicks. Matteo versus Ezra Aderhold. I'll take Ezra, man.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Oh man, I want to as well, but like, I don't think this course requires quite the distance as some of like I think so. Other ones maybe. This one for MPO distance is not as much of a premium. Give me Matteo. Give me Matteo.
There's some bonus birdies out there for the big arms.
Sure.
Okay, Matteo it is. Nicholas Ezra Robinson.
Ezra Robinson.
I'm taking Nicholas. I have to if I want to hold on to my picks here, I think. I think Ezra's got an advantage though, to be honest, at this facility.
I think this format too.
Don't doubt Nicholas. He was putting lights out last week.
You're right.
Simon versus Joey Buckets. I'm taking Simon.
Yeah, I got to take Simon. Joey Buckets is on the verge of losing his nickname right now. If he doesn't
He's gonna start getting buckets.
Straight. He's going to be back to Joey Anderson if he doesn't clean up his act. So, yeah, I got to take Simon right now too.
Josh, breaking news in the NFL. They were talking about banning the tush push.
Mm-hmm.
They nixed it. As in, they're not going to ban it.
I don't.
The ban is nixed.
How do you effectively ban that? Like,
well, maybe that's the issue.
I think that's a big problem.
Calvin versus Isaac.
Yeah, it's got Calvin.
Taking Calvin.
Got it, Calvin.
Hamas versus Evan Smith. I got to take Evan Smith.
Well, I picked Adam, so give me Adam here.
We're both just like mirroring. Well, that's gonna be a great one. That's low key. Like, I know that's not gonna get the people going like Rick and Paul, but I'm very interested in that match.
That is an interesting match.
I'm the #1 Evan Smith booster right now.
You are.
This is fun. Kicking things off in FPO. Ella versus Holland.
That's a great FPO.
It's gonna tear them apart.
I wonder if there's a hair dye bet on the line for this match play. Give me Ella. I know Holland's been better this season, but I think Ella is just like designed.
I'll take Holland. Putting's going to end up being the difference maker. I'll take Holland.
Okay.
Deanne Carey versus Allie Smith. Man, that's tough. I'll take Deanne, who's had an awesome round last tournament.
Yeah. I also want to take Deanne Carey, but my reason is her which one was it? Hold on. Let's look. Oh, here we go. Here, I'll tell you why. Deanne Carey, statistically best Circle 1 putter on tour, 90%. Allie Smith, statistically worst Circle 1 putter on tour, 52%. Done.
That's a
done.
pretty good reason.
I need not say more. It's got to be Deanne Carey.
That's a pretty good reason. All right. Owen Scoggins versus Cap Merch.
This is an exciting matchup. But you know what, Charlie? Listen, my gut says otherwise, but I will not doubt the dog. Give me Owen Scoggins.
Oh my gosh. I know that it feels like the chalk should say Cat, but they've both played well here. I mean,
I know.
Owen continues to outdo expectations when it comes to distance.
Every time.
I'm going to take Cat though. I'm going to take Cat. I'm not down to the dog. I still have her to advance.
Yeah.
In the overall group, but okay, Ellie Mittling versus Katrina.
That's you. You're up first, sir.
Oh, I'm first. God,
Yeah.
I don't know. Cat's putt is off.
Yeah.
Ellie is a wild card.
Uh-huh.
I think Ellie tries to do too much. I'm going to take Katrina.
Me too. If Ellie had controlled the distance, it'd be a whole nother ball game. But boy, when you say Ellie's a wild card, yeah, it's like you don't know where. If you know how PGA pros like can have spectators lining like right a narrow tunnel along their shot. You could do that with someone like Ella, for example, or Eveline or Henna, right? You could line 6 feet on each side and you'd be fine. If you did that with Ellie Midling, someone is dying that day. Like you couldn't do it. You would not be safe. And so it's just hard to give credit to that distance, that spectacular distance when you just don't know where it's going.
All right. Kristen versus Silva.
Fun matchup, but give me Kristen.
It really is. It would be kind of sick if Silva won the matchup, but
I think it'd be so sick.
Kristen's locked in right now.
Yeah.
Paige Pierce versus Luca Lorenzen. I got to take Paige, but I worry she has the same problem as Ellie here, and she tries to do too much.
Possibly.
But I'm still taking Paige.
I have Paige advancing, so I got to take Paige.
All right, last group. Missy Gannon versus Rebecca Cox.
I don't have Missy advancing. I think Rebecca is going to put, as Philo would say, I think Rebecca is going to put the hurt on Missy this weekend. So.
Oh wow, disrespect. Yeah, but with the injury situation, it's just too many question marks.
Too many question marks.
Jessica Weiss versus Madison Walker. I love what I saw from Jess a couple weeks ago, so I'll take.
Me too.
All right, so there you go. You got to tune in on Thursday to check it out. It'll be on DGN, and I'm very excited. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We don't get a lot of the stuff like this on tour, especially the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And, it's like practice roundy,
Yep.
It's gonna now, here's the issue. The weather in Nashville looks horrendous this week. Horrendous. Rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. How much rain we'll get? Hard to say. Probabilities are mostly lowish, but like it probably will rain. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Unclear how intense the like thunderstorm risk could be. But there's also thunderstorm risk. Also, I'm looking at like National Weather Service maps right now. There's like tornado risk. I mean, we're going to have severe storms coming through. It says right now the worst of the storms is coming through Wednesday evening into Thursday. So hard to say, like it could impact the match play. We could have lightning delays this weekend. And I'm told that we could end up having this tournament to potentially finish on Monday. That's never happened at a Pro Tour event before, but it is on the table. I've been told to basically block my schedule for maybe having to commentate on Monday.
Yikes.
So expect a sloppy, wet, maybe hiccupy weekend of disc golf.
This is a sign. Get us off this course. I would say come out to the Mountain West, but it's snowing right now, so maybe don't come out here.
Not at this time of year.
Yeah, no, not April's too early for us, but maybe stay out of the Midwest too.
But man, we've had a great weather start to the season. I mean, just beautiful weather for the most part. Obviously, it was a little windy at Waco, but kind of interesting challenge all on its own.
Well, and when is it not windy at Waco? Come on.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but expect the unexpected, I guess, this weekend. Let's talk MCO. We've got two players coming off back-to-back wins, Kristen and Simon. Kristen trying to make another three-peat, and after already doing it once this year at Waco, going back-to-back-to-back. There has never been an MPO Disc Golf Pro Tour back-to-back-to-back winner. There have been multiple, Elite Series three-peats.
NT to Pro Tour.
Yeah. Certain majors, things like that, but not Pro Tour, back-to-back-to-back. Simon can become that first person to do that.
And there is a guitar on the line, I presume.
There is. What's he going to do with a third guitar? Like,
I think he's that's why I need to know if he's got another kid
to become a musician.
I guess.
And just leave tour. He's going to become a superstar guitar player.
Oh man, that's so funny.
What else stands out for you this weekend, Josh?
I think Holland has been looking better this season, and given that she was the only one to even like keep things interesting sort of last year, Holland's got to be just the biggest, I think, possibility of, and we talked about this in the betting odds side. She's the one who's going to challenge Kristen's opportunity at a three-peat. MPO's the one that I actually think is a little bit more interesting all in all right now, for this event especially, right? You still have a course that I think you have guys like Nicholas or Adam that could play really well, and then you have to take in your regular favorites of Gannon and Calvin who has played fairly well here, but you've also got some of the legends like Simon, Paul, and Rick. Was third here 2 years ago, who are all in the mix. I mean, it almost feels a little bit Waco-esque in that it could be anybody's game this weekend.
Yeah, I think. You look at what's happened the past couple of years, this has not been a chalky type of tournament.
No, it has not.
So, I think as we discussed earlier, Kristen and Holland seem like feels like 80+% that one of those players will win.
Yeah, hard to pick against one of those.
Especially after what we saw last year. But, it's certainly possible that one of the big arms like an Evelina, Henna, or Ella could catch fire and do well this weekend.
That's funny. It sounded like you said Henna, like in the conversation to win.
Be nice, Josh. Be nice. Course coming in at 9,128 feet for FPO, 10,733 for MPO. It's long. I mean, this is going to feel like a bombery course for the first time this season, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But I think on the flip side as well, though, is I've never been and maybe I have to go back and double check, but it doesn't stand out to me as a shaping bombers course, right? Compare that to Portland, where you're doing a lot of shot shaping on what is still a very long course. This one's a little bit more straightforward. A lot of holes that take a hyzer shot, right? You'd go hyzer. And so by not demanding any sort of kind of or significant amounts of shaping to that distance, guys like Calvin, obviously he's going to play well. He's a consistent player, but doesn't have the same advantages. Even something like Jonesboro, for example, that has longer holes that require pretty technical golf lines. I just don't see that as the case here at this course. It feels like it's either long and hyzery, or kind of straightforward, or it's a little bit shorter and then lots of guys are able to access it. And so that kind of mix means that distance is obviously a benefit, but it's not. I mean, Simon doesn't throw like he used to, and he's won 2 years in a row. And so,
he's still. You're right that he doesn't throw as far as he used to, but he got some birdies here last year. I think he got an eagle even, just some massive shots, pure Simon line stuff.
Sure. But I think that's more about his creativity than anything, right?
I will say, this is not the best course on tour, and it's not really going to be that close. But there are some cool holes.
There are.
Now, I will note they have rearranged a bunch of the course this year. So a lot of the holes are remaining the same, but are playing in a different order. But at least I'm never going to remember what holes they were in the past. But this year's hole 10, it's the one that the OB narrows down, and then it goes into the woods, par 4. You throw to the landing zone, and then you have to throw kind of a technical woodsy shot with the basket pretty far back down that corridor of woods.
Is this the one that AB blew up on 2 years ago?
I don't remember. Maybe. There's OB right and left all the way down the tunnel.
I don't remember. Anyway.
And you get some really cool circle 2 putt opportunities. And if you do pure the tee shot, you can park it. It's doable. It's just a really nice right to left par 4. There's some cool shots over the water.
They do have
the back end of the course.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it looks like maybe they've taken a lot of that stuff out. Looking at the Caddie book.
Is hole 18 the same?
I don't think so.
good because their hole 18 was last year was like.
It was that crazy one.
No, it's the worst. It's the worst hole 18 on tour.
This doesn't. Okay, so for FPO, it's a 429-foot par 3. It almost looks like they have the same pin position. Just looking at the Caddie book, I haven't seen the hole flyovers yet, so I don't know. It looks like they used to throw from across the other side. They would throw down over the valley, and you try to land as high up on the hill as you could to have an easier approach shot to the basket. And it was a par 4. Now it looks like they're playing from the same side as the basket, and they're throwing looks like uphill to the pin, but it's a par 3, 429 for FPO, 520 for FPO, for MPO, excuse me. So maybe it's more flat because those distances wouldn't be reachable uphill.
Those are the same numbers as last year.
Oh, okay. So maybe it is the same as last year.
Am I thinking of 2 years ago's hole then?
We must be thinking of the one from 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's like that. You want to throw the big kind of like Annie, like and try and get up on the hill and then like a baby approach shot.
Yeah, and like if you had a huge arm, like maybe you could squint. Because remember, AB had to try to go for it.
Yeah,
so he takes that massive shot, and he had like a 150-foot approach to try to ring it up.
Yeah, that was the worst hole 18 on tour. That hole sucked. That was so boring. I hated that hole. It was too long to actually like have a real shot at eagle.
Yeah, that was a problem. Short, it was a little too long.
But there was no danger, and it was too short to do anything interesting. I hated that hole. I don't remember last year's hole, I'll be honest. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But
anyway, there's some cool holes. It looks like the water stuff is mostly out of play now. But yeah, it's going to feel different from what we've played so far, especially because we didn't play Jonesboro this year.
Yes.
Right? Like the Jonesboro into Music City was always kind of brutal because it felt like you were just going to a worse version of an open Jonesboro type course. Right. With no Jonesboro, now this will feel quite distinct from what we've played so far this season.
Yeah. I think the hard part though is like Harvey Pennick like has flavors of this, and it's just so much better. Especially this year. It was so good. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm a little hesitant, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to watch, so well, I'll reserve judgment.
Some notes. We have a couple of debuts this weekend. Haley King throwing an open bag, no sponsor, debuting this weekend. We also have Natalie Ryan playing for the first time this weekend. So we'll see if anything happens with that. Macy Villa-Diaz is also back. She's played really well here in the past. She just shot her best ever event rating back at Spring Flight Open after having a kid. She's an interesting picks opportunity this weekend, I think.
Yeah,
as a 5Xer.
I would agree. For 5X, that's for sure. Yeah, going to be an interesting. Honestly, Haley might be an interesting pick this weekend.
Of course.
I wouldn't put money on her, but for the possible points that she could pull, maybe.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah,
smoothest thrower on tour.
Never know with Haley.
But I agree, it's difficult to expect her to. I mean, a top 10 would feel like a pretty good result, I would think.
I mean, top 10 is 5 points.
All right. What's going to be interesting to me? This event could crystallize that this year is going to be KL versus Holland.
It could.
And that we are into a new paradigm where we have a 2-horse race most of the time.
Yep.
That's been a typical FPO, style. I mean, we've seen that. It was Paige and Katrina.
Yeah.
And then it was Paige and Kristen. And then it was just Kristen.
Yeah.
We challenger committee, right? But maybe now there is no more committee and we just have Kristen and Holland. We'll see. I think it's going to be a telltale weekend for that. And of course, you've got Gannon trying to bring up his first win. A bunch of guys who still haven't necessarily played that great yet, like Ricky. Can Calvin get one? I think there's a lot of people who could win this tournament.
And a lot of people who would benefit greatly from winning this tournament.
Yep. All right, let's lay down our picks.
Okay.
I think I'm first.
All right.
I'll just hit you with my 3 in MPO. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm taking Simon. I'm taking Gannon. And I'm taking Calvin.
All right.
Give me a little bit of chalk. I feel like I've been a little too cute in MPO, and I keep taking negative points. So I'm going to take some, less attractive multipliers, but I still am pretty happy to get bonus points from Calvin and Simon. And the way they're playing right now, I feel great about. And Gannon, I think at worst is going to be top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's fair. I have Simon as well, but that is where we differ. I wanted AB and Paul at the 1.5 multiplier. I mean, both have played phenomenal here in the past, and I love both of them getting me. And Simon, so Simon's 2x, and then Paul and AB are 1.5. I'm pretty happy with them this week because I think either of those 3 guys could win, but I don't feel like it's likely that any of the 3 of them give me negative points. So I think, at worst I'm going flat, but I think I'm going to get at least, 1.5 to 2 points out of each of these guys. And so I'm pretty happy to take that bet on this one rather than trying to predict a winner in an event where it feels like predicting the winner per se is going to be a little bit more difficult.
All right. What you got for FPO?
Over an FPO. Well, I guess what? I think that the 2-horse race is going to continue. Kristen and Holland are going to headline my FPO picks without a doubt. But my next pick, I think Ella's going to be my pick. I obviously am excited about the multiplier, but I really think that the problems that plagued her here in the last year are not going to be the same problems that plague her this year if she doesn't perform well. And she just has looked better this season. And so I'm going to value her throwing ability here. And we've seen the benefit that comes to people like Evelina as well on the ability to put low numbers down. And I think Ella's going to do the same thing.
All right. Well, obviously I'm taking Kristen. I'm also taking Holland. It's just, you can't here. I already sneak previewed it. I'm taking Macy.
Oh, you're doing it. Okay. That's a 5X
for her.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm having to just be like, well, her first event of the year, I'm just taking a flyer. No, she already played awesome at SFO. Yeah. And this is I don't want to call it a home course, but it's a local course. She's played great here in the past. She's looked good this season. And I feel like a top 10 is very within reach. And if I get that, I'm happy. If I get anything more than that, it's the best pick of the week.
Right. That's a great point. Great point. I hope you don't get negative.
Shut up, Josh. All right. That is going to do it for this show and for this week on the main show. We will be back on Thursday with a rapid reacts following the match play. And then we'll be back again on Sunday for subscribers again with our Music City Open reacts. Of course, if this event ends up moving into Monday, we will adjust. So make sure you get yourself a subscription. You can join the picks contest and go up against me and Josh every single time we have a tournament. You can check that out at discgolf.ultiworld.com/upshot-picks. Subscribe today. Save money now. 2 weeks, price goes up. And we'd love to see you in the Discord. It's the best place to talk disc golf on the internet. Honestly, it might be the best part of being a subscriber.
Yeah. It's great. And the live shows in the Discord, they're so much fun.
We look forward to seeing you in there. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we will talk to you next week right here on The Upshot.